Welcome to Inspired Word Cafe. I'm going to read a poem. It's called Faucet, and it's in memory of Rory. A week of deaths, and all of them floating in Andromache's still bathwater. I failed to tell you about the swollen features of a drowning 2-year-old, how water soaks into pores and settles there, in crevices of eyes, along the temple, filling cheeks and lips. His mother will never again dampen a terry cloth, place it against the scalp of her child, and wash the day's markings away. There is a disconnect between Andromache's expectation that Hector will return safe from battle and the reality we know, that she has drawn a bath for a defiled corpse. We agree that in her ignorance there is a knowing, but I also recognize her closed-eyed commitment and patience, the desire to slip into the water and scrape death from her skin. I hold my 3-year-old's body as closely to my chest as she will allow. Her scent goes unchanged, and I feel memory as a ritual act. The first time I held her, she was a screaming mess, blood all over her head, my chest, pooling out on the bed. I couldn't take my eyes from her, face puffed up with newness, when I heard a whisper to imagine I was slowly turning off a faucet. I lifted her tiny hand against my pointer finger, kept us from the silent fear in the room as everyone dressing my open body waited for blood to clot and stop. I was blissful in the face of new life, ignorant about my blood draining like Hector's unused bathwater, hopeful as Andromache in her longing for life to mean more than death. Thank you. It's an elegy. I'm so sorry. It was so depressing. Welcome to Inspired Word Cafe. Woo! We're going to have fun. Good thing that the featured poet of the night does not write elegies about dying 2-year-olds and bloody body parts. I almost said something, but I didn't. Okay. He's an amazing poet. He has... Have you won a slam? You've been so close. Have you? Have you won one? I don't know. He doesn't care. He don't care. It don't matter. He's an amazing member of the community. He comes all the way in from Vernon, and we love him and treasure him. He's one of a kind. Please welcome Taheri.
My first piece, it was inspired by a friend of mine who was so lovely that it enticed me to write this piece. And it started to make me think of the laws of attraction, and that it is something that is beyond our understanding, that we're drawn to sort of this connection with other human beings that often is beyond the sexual, beyond the gender that we share. So I wrote this piece about my observations, about my experience as a human being, and love. She loves me not. Day after day, I watch these ladies with smiles as fresh as daisies. Their fragrance drives me crazy. She loves me not. I watch summer's warm breeze moving skirts with such ease, like flowers in a field, white petals revealed, like welcome mats holding beautiful secrets for nature's diplomats. She loves me not. It's weeds like these, not bees like me, trying to move close enough to catch a little whiff from your golden pollen sniff. She loves me not. My buzzing wings aflutter. As I move close enough to you, my tongue begins to stutter. Your golden spiral baffles me like sun's arrival. Your hot little gaze sets me ablaze. My mind travels back for hours, even days. She loves me not. My body is lagging, scorched wings white flagging, like two handkerchiefs waving, accepting defeat from sacred fractals, a sequence on repeat. She loves me not. Rooted deep in soil, snow-white daisies linger, while dwarves and Prince Charmings whimper, hoping that a kiss might just be enough to win her. She loves me not. Golden spirals pattern inward, like pilgrims in Rome bowing to the divinity of Fibonacci's golden dome. She loves me not. The inner discs of your pollen is where I'm crawling. I bask in your scent, doing my ablutions like a baptism during Lent. She loves me not. The sublimity of your curves shake all my nerves, like bees signaling the realities rich in anatomic complexities. She loves me not. I think I've fallen, bathing deep in your pollen. The hairs of my body are like magnets to gold dust, nature's secrets I can only trust. She loves me not. A sacred land I may never understand, holding divine secrets to a nature, to an ecstasy I wish was only meant for me. She loves me not. I smell the scent of a coming loss as I pluck the petals off of daisies I begin to toss. She loves me not. Knowing that this is my logic is simply crazy. It's a creation of insecurities, not that of God or lovely daisies. I actually wrote this piece just before the election. It wasn't, the intention of this piece wasn't to be overly political. It was about justice. It was about the day in which we live, and it had to do with thinking about how many people are feeling that their lives are at risk because justice hangs in the balance. Lemons for sale. Get your freshly picked California lemons. Lemons for sale. Get your freshly picked California lemons. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for sour-tasting rain, for brutal racial majesties above the fruited plain. I've been sucking on lemons so long, this look on my face is more of a sign of where I've come from than an indication of how sour I am as a person. I was taught that if life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, or anything else that might help you palate the taste of lemons. Because if there's anything that people hate more than the taste of sour options, it's the sound of whining voices in the faces of those without choices. If you ever question how bad you think you've got to, think of all the fruit pickers of America. Across the Great Plains and up to the northern skies, America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good void of brotherhood from sea to parting seas. See, this divide between us and them, between cultures and borders, is mainly due to the greed of racist hoarders. But I like the taste of lemons, a taste for the simpler things in life. I'd happily trade my life and equity for the ideas of universal equality. Right now, the chances of being shot and killed, locked up and deported, are skyrocketing like a wall climbing soon to a border near you. While this might just be true for those outside of the red, white, and blue, let's just hold off on opinions and remind ourselves of all the fights we've ever been in. Chances are these folks have earned their stars and stripes like a black belt from the streets of Acapulco, which is fortunately the most I'll ever know. I'm tired of living in a world which sees war medals as anything other than pieces of melted shrapnel hung around the necks of folks taught that this is how you survive and make a difference in the world. I want to live in a world that demonstrates love and equality more than it speaks of fear and the dangers of national security. Oh, beautiful, for glory tale of propagating strife, not just once or twice, for man's prevail undimmed by death and tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, the banner of the free, from tree to pining tree. Lemons for sale. Get your freshly picked California lemons. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. This is a piece that came from a place of spiritual reflection, a place of thinking about the necessities of my soul and divinity that rescues me from time to time. The soul of man is like an old house. Over time, we accumulate years of junk, dust, and mold, that rank smell from getting old. Clearing out all these things requires an approach each of its own. Junk can be removed, while dust needs upkeep to be renewed. Mold needs a lot of elbow grease, but a bad smell may never cease. It's not the cause of one of these things. It's the guests we've entertained and all that brings. The only thing I've ever known to carry out that resilient stench that I bemoan is a visit from an ancient breeze. The task is very simple, if you please. Open all your doors and windows. Let it come on in and take away all that it needs. In November, a good friend of mine passed away. I have a privilege of developing connections with people who live on the street. Many of them stay with me in my spirit. It's a reciprocal connection that has really enhanced the quality of my life, and I know that those type of relationships are important to them as well. So when this friend of mine passed away, they asked me to say a few words, and I honestly couldn't. I didn't know what to say, but I wrote a poem. So, one door opens, one door closes. One friend enters, another one leaves. It begs the question, what do I believe? Is the door half open or is it half closed? Is this real or just a dream? Life is like a candle, so it seems. Some burn quick and bright, while others take their time to do what's right. But what is wrong and what is right? Who's to say except those who are near, blessed to feel its warmth while its flame was still flickering here? Is the point of life that our wick burns slow? Or is it more important that our flame burns hot enough that the world might know? Optimism. It's like a pair of prescription lenses that I seem to lose constantly. Some days, I've got the whole world asking me for directions. And other days, I feel like a blind old fool who can't even find his way to the toilet. So that piece, needless to say, that was just a contemplation in the middle of the night. So, I should have been much more prepared for this. Love is like malaria. You ever caught love? I have. I was traveling through Africa in these dusty books I found in the library's nobody gives a damn section. I used my page flipping fingers as feet to walk through the devastation captured in the eyes of every bareback tyke. Like poster children plastered across the pages of world famine magazines that nonprofit charities use to bamboozle decent folks into believing that they aren't profiting off starvation. I saw long-tailed sparks trailing behind matchstick legs as they kindled together to make smoke signals, because when you're that hungry, you'll try anything once. On certain pages, those sandstorms became so bad the leather heels had to move from a game of tag into a full-on sprint to merge the difference left by dodgy Dewey Decimal numbers that somehow lost all the books on how to be ethically virtuous, according to prophets and philosophers that were replaced with books on how to be ethically vicious, according to bigots and sophists. Then I saw bone-like hands trying to reach out and leap across the bindings that separated the first page from the last, so that the fingertips could pierce through the hardback covers that I shut because my squeamish conscience couldn't bear much more. By the grace of God, something bit me so hard back into reality that my soul wept like a monsoon in the middle of a drought. Nausea, convulsions, sweats and chills, my clothes turned into rags to mop up the buckets pouring out of each of my guilty holes that I used to stuff with cotton balls when Alice Trebek came on saying that I could save a child's life for less than $1 a day. A pack of needle-nosed mosquitoes must have snuck off those pages with the heavenly wings to revive me, because that day, the temperature of my heart rose from 98 to 6 degrees of separation. Attention. Asphyxiated addicts are abundant. Bamboozled by butt-burning beguilers. Caution, cigarettes cause copious casualties. Destitute descendants duplicate dumb deeds in vision. Epidermic erosion echoing extinction. Fallacious fantasies floating from fools' gargantuan glands getting glares guaranteed. Hideous holes have huge handicaps. Innocence isn't ignorance, it's intelligence. Jazz, jiving jaws, jibber jabber jack, kept knowledge keenly kills karma. Leeching lobbyists like limp lungs, marketing means much more mortalities. Nicotine narcotics negotiate nicogenic naps. Offensive odors overtax oxidated organs. Public protests pack punitive punches. Quibbling cracks qualify questions quickly. Ruinous regimes reluctantly run reports. SOBs suffocate, stop smoking soothsayers. Tobacco tycoons target tumorous territories. Unscrupulous unions use us unanimously. Vindictive villains viciously vamp victims. Wait, why weren't we watching? Xerix xenophobe, Xerox xanthic cirrhosis. Yellow-fingered yuppies yelp yapping S's. Zillion zealots zipping, zappy, zigzags. Thank you. So that last piece was inspired by Black Alicious' Alphabet Aerobics, if those of you have heard it, and also the label on the package of the Surgeon General warnings on the packages of cigarettes. So I was just thinking that would be pretty funny. Nice.
And we're joined here by Taheri, who's our featured poet tonight. Thank you for being on our IWC stage. Let's give him a big round of applause for how amazing he is. So Dash, was it everything you hoped for and then some?
Yeah, it was.
You gotta talk into the mic, Dash.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, it was absolutely more than I expected.
Right.
Because actually I thought I was going to be up here for 5 minutes, not 17. But yeah, thank you.
We're so generous. Generosity is one of our caveats as a nonprofit organization.
You know, I could have used a couch here, and then I could have told you more and more of my life.
Awesome.
In my poems, yeah.
And you would lie back, and I would say, tell me what happened next, Dash. Do tell me, though, a little bit about how you got started writing.
Okay. I guess I thought that writing was a way to express some of my my thoughts that I couldn't express to another human being, and then people were curious what I was writing, so then I started sharing them. I'd never intended to share my poems with anybody, and that's sort of how it came about.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was on vacation down in Costa Rica, in case anyone didn't know that. All of you already know that. But I was writing poems, and this was this really interesting thing where people couldn't stop asking me what I was doing. Like, why are you in paradise on a computer? And my excuse would always be, they're poems about Costa Rica. Like, it's an okay thing, but people thought I was crazy. So I think it's an interesting thing where when people hear you're writing something, they want to know, right? It's
sure.
It's a curiosity kind of thing. Because I think if you have the capability to write, most people write in some way, shape, or form. Maybe it's writing a grocery list, or it's writing a check. Like it's still an act of writing. There's still poetry in all of that, right?
For sure.
So, who are some of your favorite poets?
I've always been very inspired by like mystic poets. I think when I was a kid, like I think the William Blakes were really had a big impact on me, and then I started chasing like more mystic poets and started coming across Omar Khayyam and Hafez and Rumi and so that kind of took me into writing stuff that I was just really inspired by, but it was very cryptic. It didn't often make sense to people. So then I started reading other authors and dabbling in different forms. And I was really curious to break away from forms, invent forms. And so I think my language, I was really interested in being playful with language, and so poetry was just a vehicle that allowed me to do that.
Yeah, you are very playful with language. I still remember you are friends. You went to high school with one of my very good friends, and so she had told me about you, Rianne. She'd kind of said, "Oh, you'll love this guy, Dash. You guys will get on really, really well." And then we put a call out to get poets to come out for our second big slam, and we got this video of you doing the last poem you did, your smoking poem. And I remember Raul was like, "You need to watch this video, Aaron. Go online right now and watch the video." and yeah, we were shocked and amazed. But that was the one thing that I loved about it, was how playful you were with not just words, but the sound of words, which is something that I am completely enamored with as well. So I really appreciate that about your work. Okay, I have some questions here for you. You were asking me about them earlier. I'm going to throw in a little loop, and I'm going to ask you one of my questions from last season's interviewing that everyone hated. Okay? I don't think it's a big deal, but for some reason, it's a hard question to answer. I'm going to throw it at you now. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. If you were a vegetable, what vegetable would you be?
That's a wonderful question.
This is it. Every time there are people, what? How do I answer this? I don't know. I don't eat vegetables.
Well, I'm a vegan, and
oh, good. So you eat vegetables.
Like I eat nothing else.
Right.
Vegetable. What was my favorite vegetable? If I was a vegetable.
If you were a vegetable, like you're in the veggie patch.
Yeah. I don't know why my mind is going to eggplant.
Eggplant. And that is probably the #1 answer.
Is it?
Yes. I feel like we're kind of doing a psychological test on people with this question. I didn't realize it was that potent, but people like eggplants. Eggplant emoji.
It's interesting.
It is. I said peach, but that's fine. Are you rich?
Rich.
That's a ridiculous question.
Financially not rich.
Right.
Rich in potentialities that I have to actualize. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. I feel like Lennon, my daughter, threw that question at me as like a judgment of the fact that her mother's a poet. She's like, "Here you go, Mom. Ask all your poet friends this one. Are you rich? How do you pay the bills?" And the second question is, do you like to be interviewed?
Not really.
Not really. I think that's probably most people's answer, but you're having fun. Like you think you're not, but you're going to go home and be like, "Aaron was so good to me tonight."
I mean, I could do this all the time, but the camera.
The camera?
No.
We love you, camera.
Yeah, thank you, camera. Thank you for making this very awkward.
Why is your hat inappropriate?
I'm not wearing it.
You actually have a hat?
I normally do, yeah.
Awesome.
And
it's not inappropriate.
Can you throw it to me?
Here we go.
Okay.
Heyo.
So this is my hat. And why is it inappropriate?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what you call these. When I was a kid, I started wearing these hats because my grandfather wore this hat.
Nice.
And I started wearing his clothing. Yeah, he started giving me hand-me-downs. And so as a child, I started dressing like an old man. And it's no joke. I really was interested in the way that my grandpa looked.
Right.
And
that's awesome.
I was like, this is the coolest guy. Actually, some of my sweaters that I wear today are actually ones he had. Anyway, I think was when I was a kid. It was called a poor boy.
Oh.
Or a poor boy or a newsboy when I was a kid.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And so, in a sense, that might be inappropriate.
Wow, you actually answered the question. The most random question ever. And with that, Dash, where can people find more of your work?
It doesn't really exist anywhere but Inspired Word Cafe.
Awesome. Good for
us. But I look forward to producing more and more.
Yeah, and we look forward to hearing more and more. You can find more and more of us at inspiredwordcafe.com or on YouTube at Inspired Word Cafe. This has been a really, really wonderful interview, Dash. Thank you for putting up with me. And thank you all for joining us tonight. Have a good night.